Hello everyone, welcome to Arpita's NCERT Kaksha, and today we are starting with the second last chapter in the political theory book, textbook for class 11th NCERT, and the chapter is peace. The last chapter होगा NCERT का that will be development, okay? So this is the second last chapter of the first NCERT of Indian polity of class 11th political theory that we are going to cover today. All right, let's get started. Achha, when we talk about the term peace, what comes to your mind? What is peace? Now, if you are sitting in your house right now, you are living in a democratic nation currently, right, which follows the parliamentary form of governance, and you are sitting in your house watching YouTube and watching this lecture and making notes, preparing for the exam you want to prepare for. Okay, you have decided your career path, your career option, and you are very free to decide what you want to study, what you do not want to study. ओके एंड हाउ यू वांट टू स्टडी इट. तो इतनी फ्रीडम तो आप सबके पास है इस नेशन में कि आप क्या बनना चाहते हो, राइट? इफ यू आर वाचिंग दिस लेक्चर यू माइट बी एमिंग फॉर यूपीएससी और स्टेट पीएससी एग्जाम्स. तो आपने डिसाइड तो कर लिया, यू हैव फाइनली डिसाइडेड व्हाट यू वांट टू बिकम, राइट? यू हैव दैट फ्रीडम. सो वेरी पीसफुली यू आर सिटिंग इन योर एट योर होम एंड यू आर preparing for it. All right. So when I ask you what is peace, you will say peace means when we are living in a nation without any war, when we are living in a nation which has no violent conflict or minor violent conflicts, or when we are living in a nation and we are free to pursue our career options, education, etc. That is peace for us, right? आपके लिए यही आंसर होगा. You will give this answer only. But exactly what is peace can be explained only by a person who has witnessed violence. For example, if you go to Afghanistan, if you go to Ukraine right now, and if you ask those people what is peace, they will give you the correct answer. Why? Because they are fighting for peace. Because they have seen ruthless violence in their nations for years. Because they now value peace. Why? Because they do not have peace in their nation. So only that person can explain what is peace. That only that person knows the value of peace who has the lack of peace in his or her life. वही इंसान आपको पीस की वैल्यू डेफिनेशन बता सकता है जिसने कभी पीस एक्सपीरियंस ना किया हो, जिसने सिर्फ वायलेंस ही वायलेंस देखा हो. क्यों? बिकॉज वी विल बी ओनली वैल्यू दैट थिंग विच वी डू नॉट पोसेस राइट नाउ. हमें उसी चीज की कदर होती है जो हमारे पास अभी नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ अ पर्सन इज नॉट हैविंग अ फैमिली, he knows the value of having a family. And a person, another person on the other hand is fighting with his mother or with his father or sister or wife, because he doesn't value them because he has a family. And when we have something, we value it very less. जब हमारे पास कुछ होता है ना, हम उसको बहुत वैल्यू कम करते हैं. For example, if your mother asks you what should I cook in dinner, you have so many options. So you do not value food as much as a person who is hungry. जो सच में भूखमरी का शिकार है, जो सच में भूखा है, आप उसके कंपैरिजन में खाने को कम वैल्यू करोगे, क्योंकि उसके पास खाना है नहीं, उसने खाया नहीं है 2 से 3 दिन तक कोई कुछ भी खाना, कुछ भी अन्न. और आपके पास इतना खाना है कि आप बैठकर चॉइस कर रहे हो कि आज मैं राजमा चावल नहीं खाऊंगा, आज मैं बैंगन नहीं खाऊंगा, आज मैं ये खाऊंगा, वो खाऊंगा. तो सही मायने में पीस वही समझ सकता है जिसने कभी पीस के लिए जो लड़ा हो, जिसने वायलेंस ही वायलेंस देखा हो. So, keeping that in mind, there are two kinds of definition of peace that arises. First of all, before you start this chapter, always understand that peace is valued by that person who has witnessed violence. पीस वही इंसान वैल्यू करता है पीस को, शांति को, जिसने वायलेंस देखा है. ओके, एंड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट वी ओनली वैल्यू समथिंग दैट वी डू नॉट पोसेस राइट नाउ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जिसके पास पैसा है उसे पैसे की इतनी कदर नहीं होगी, और जिसके पास पैसा नहीं है उसे मालूम होगा कि पैसे की कितनी जरूरत होती है. For example, if a person is young, very young, he will go on drinking alcohol and he will go on smoking. Why? Because he is young. He is not valuing his organs. But a person who is living at 20% capacity of kidney or 20% capacity of lungs, that person will value his health very considerately. ठीक है? वो इंसान जिसके पास सिर्फ अब उसका लिवर 20% बचा है, वो इंसान जिसका किडनी सिर्फ 50% बचा है, वो इंसान अपने किडनी और लिवर की वैल्यू जानेगा, बजाय उसके जो कि यंग है, हट्टा खट्टा है. वो तो भैया स्मोकिंग करेगा, वो तो अपना हुक्का पिएगा या वो तो ड्रिंकिंग करेगा, क्योंकि अभी उसे वैल्यू समझ नहीं आ रही है अपने ऑर्गन्स की. समझ आ रही है बात? So always remember, humans, they are, mentally they are built like that. Very few people are, such who value something that they currently possess. बहुत कम होते हैं जो इनके पास जो चीज है वो उसकी कदर करें. ठीक है, हर कोई ऐसे कदर नहीं करता मोस्टली. So keeping that in mind, there are two kinds of definitions that people give on peace. First is absence of war, but this is a misleading definition. Now I'll say that there is no war in a particular country. That does not guarantee that there will be peace in that nation. The nation's economic condition might not be very good, so that is why the nation will not be at peace. हो सकता है भले उस देश में वॉर नहीं हो रहा, बट इकोनॉमिक रिसेशन चल रहा है या फिर कोई पॉलिटिकल इशू चल रहा है, इस वजह से उस कंट्री में पीस नहीं है, शांति नहीं है. सो एब्सेंस ऑफ वॉर नेवर गारंटीज पीस. अगर मैं कहूं कि एक कंट्री में वॉर नहीं है तो इसकी मतलब ये गारंटी नहीं है कि उस कंट्री में शांति होगी. बिकॉज पीस मीन्स व्हेन इकोनॉमिकली, फाइनेंशियली, politically, mentally, all the people are happy. That means that nation is at peace. Okay, so second definition, a very close definition to peace we can give is absence of violent conflicts of all kinds, like war, riot, massacre, physical attack or assassination. If such kind of violent conflicts are not present in a nation, then we can say that the nation is at peace. ठीक है, this is not a very misleading definition. It is very close to the actual definition of peace. वैसे तो शांति, पीस का सही डेफिनेशन यही है, एक नेशन जिसमें इकोनॉमिकली या मेंटली या फाइनेंशियली या फिर सोशली लोग खुश हैं, तो वो नेशन पीस में है, शांति में है. ठीक है, ये पॉइंट आपको याद रखना है. Now when I say absence of war, it's a misleading definition. What does it mean? It means I will give you an example of Rwanda and Bosnia. So in Rwanda and Bosnia in 1994 genocide occurred. The same genocide which people claim that is happening in Myanmar also. Myanmar में भी तो यही हो रहा है ना, refugees are running back to Bangladesh and India and Sri Lanka because they are facing genocide in Myanmar. So this kind of Myanmar in 1994 happened in Rwanda and Bosnia also. And genocide was basically ethnic cleansing. The members of Hutu majority tribe, they were killing the members of Tutsi community. तो हुतू में जो कम्युनिटी थी, उन्होंने कम से कम 8 लाख तुत्सी कम्युनिटी के लोगों को मार दिया था. Okay, they were spreading hate campaign against the Tutsi community. So that is why a very huge mass massacre happened. So when I say that absence of war is peace, that is incorrect, because in Rwanda and Bosnia, war was not taking place, but the people of the same country were killing the people of another community of the same country. There were different communities in the nation and one community was killing another community. So there was no war, outside war nahi tha, but genocide, the civil war was happening. Inside the nation only one community was killing another community. Alright, so that is why I say that this first definition is not a very clear definition of peace. Alright, यहाँ तक समझ आ गया? So if somebody asks you or in interview the board members say that absence of war is peace, justify, you can give this example also. अगर आपको इंटरव्यू बोर्ड में कोई ऐसे पूछ लेता है कि भाई पीस का मतलब क्या है, वॉर ना होना वही पीस है, तो आप एग्जांपल देके समझा देना कि नहीं, ये मिसलीडिंग डेफिनेशन है. पीस कैन नॉट बी मेजर्ड बाय जस्ट एब्सेंस ऑफ वॉर. And we know that humanity has learned to value peace after paying a huge price for its absence, because we saw the condition of our nation and of other nations in Hiroshima, bombing, during the Nagasaki bombings, during World War II, massive violence was occurred. It occurred. Then the Korean War, the Crimean War, the Indian Independence War, and the struggle that happened. So after all these massive major wars, we have started now, knowing the value of peace. अब हमें समझ आ रहा है कि भाई शांति की क्या वैल्यू होती है इतने वॉर्स देखने के बाद. ठीक है, that is why in the initial beginning of this lecture I told you that you understand the value of something when you do not have it. हम प्यार की वैल्यू तभी समझते हैं जब हमारे पास प्यार नहीं होता. हम माँ बाप की वैल्यू तभी समझ, seriously, this is true. If right now you are studying this, right now if your father taunts you or your mother taunts you, you will become very angry, very aggressive. You will not understand the value of their taunt also. But when our mother and father are not with us, only then we understand the value of those precious taunts that they used to give us, because we know that in those taunts our welfare was hidden. हमारे माता पिता हमें टॉन्ट देते हैं या हमें डांट देते हैं तो हमें बड़ा गुस्सा आता है, बट जब वो नहीं होते हमारे पास तब समझ आता है कि हम उन्हीं के बच्चे हैं, राइट। तो वो जो हमें टॉन्ट दे रहे थे वो हमारे भलाई के लिए ही दे रहे थे, हमें उनके एब्सेंस में समझ आता है कि उनके टॉन्ट में भी उनका प्यार था। So similarly, we fight with our siblings, we ignore our siblings, और we fight with our loved ones, जिनसे हम प्यार करते हैं उनसे भी लड़ते हैं, इग्नोर करते हैं या उनको हर्ट कर देते हैं। बट जब वो हमारे पास नहीं होते, when our siblings or parents or the loved ones are not with us, only then we understand their value in our life। ठीक है, वैसे तो हमें लगता है क्या ही वैल्यू है इनकी हमारी लाइफ में, सब तो हम अपना कर लेते हैं काम, बट नहीं। ठीक है, ये पॉइंट याद रखिएगा, always remember this। And when we study this chapter, we come across a very important aspect of violence also, because violence is also not, limited to a kind, it is of different kinds। एक kind का violence नहीं होता, there are multiple kinds of violence। So in 1969, a Norwegian sociologist, Johan Galtung, he wrote a very important and famous article called Violence, Peace and Peace Research। Okay, and in that article he mentioned a triangle which was famously known as Galtung's violence triangle, in which he said that violence is of three kinds: direct violence, structural violence and cultural violence। Okay, and cultural violence is a combination of direct and structural violence। So let us understand what are these three kinds of violence। मतलब we know that violence means when you are killing somebody, when you are hurting somebody physically or emotionally, that is violence। But in violence also there are different kinds। So he said that structural violence produces large scale evil consequences। जब structural violence किसी nation में होता है, उसके बहुत ही ज़्यादा dangerous evil consequences, results होते हैं। It is a form of violence which says that some social structure or social institution may harm people by preventing them from meeting their basic needs। Now, why did I say that structural violence causes very evilish and very devilish and dangerous consequences? Because of the needs, the basic needs. What are the basic needs? Food, clothing and housing। ठीक है, तो ये बेसिक नीड्स है, रोटी कपड़ा मकान, दीज आर द बेसिक नीड्स ऑफ अ पर्सन इन अ नेशन। ठीक है, कि उसे टाइम से खाना मिल जाए, उसे सही शरीर ढकने के लिए कपड़े मिल जाए और रहने के लिए छत मिल जाए। सो व्हेन दीज बेसिक नीड्स आर नॉट मेट of a particular person in a nation because of some social structure or social institution, then that becomes structural violence। The person, he starts protesting, he starts getting violent, right, towards the government, towards the other communities। Okay, point clear हो रहा है? So structural violence occurs whenever people are disadvantaged by economic conditions, by cultural conditions, by political conditions, by legal conditions। जब disadvantaged या vulnerable people economic condition की वजह से, country के political राजनीतिक condition के वजह से, legal conditions की वजह से, cultural conditions की वजह से अपने बेसिक नीड्स पूरे ना कर पाए, तब वो ऐसा इंसान बन जाता है जो ना अपने देश फेलो देशवासियों को बख्शता है, ना गवर्नमेंट को बख्शता है। और उस टाइम जो वायलेंस निकलता है वो स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस होता है, बिकॉज ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द नेशन, बिकॉज ऑफ द सोशल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द नेशन, द वायलेंस दैट इमर्जेस, दैट इज द स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस। ऑल राइट, द एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस कैन बी, इट कैन बी इलीटिज्म। ठीक है, जब आप इलीटिस्ट सोसाइटी बनाने लगते हो कि भाई वीआईपी कल्चर हो गया, इन दैट केस द स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस अकर्स। रेसिज्म, बिकॉज ऑफ रेसिज्म स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस अकर्स। सेक्सिज्म, जेंडर डिफरेंशिएशन, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस अकर्स। ठीक है, सो दीज आर द क्लासिज्म। ठीक है, क्लासिज्म इज ऑल्सो एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस। जब आप यू क्रिएट डिफरेंट क्लासेस, राइट, इन द सोसाइटी, दैट ऑल्सो रिजल्ट्स इनटू स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस। सो दीज कैन बी द एग्जाम्पल टू एक्सप्लेन व्हाट इज स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस। आप स्ट्रक्चरल वायलेंस इन एग्जाम्पल्स के थ्रू एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो। ठीक है, यहाँ तक पॉइंट क्लियर हो गया। नाउ कमिंग ऑन टू डायरेक्ट वायलेंस। अब डायरेक्ट वायलेंस की बात कर लेते हैं। व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज डायरेक्ट वायलेंस? लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड। सो इट इंजर्स और किल्स पीपल quickly and dramatically when you directly are trying to hurt somebody, when you are directly trying to injure somebody physically, आप injure कर रहे हो, तो वो आपका direct violence हो गया। It does not comes out of any social structure, directly you are just trying to bring out your hatred towards a person, that is direct violence। And cultural violence, existence of prevailing social norms that make direct and structural violence seem very natural, right or acceptable, that is cultural। That means if you are trying to, let's say, do elite, follow racism, ठीक है, let's take an example of ब्रिटेन। ठीक है, ब्रिटेन का एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं। We are taking the example of Britain. What was happening when Mahatma Gandhi ji was present there? ठीक है, तो जब अफ्रीका में, साउथ अफ्रीका में महात्मा गांधी जी थे, ठीक है, he was practicing law over there. So what happened? Africa was under the colonialism of Britain only. So there, in a particular train, there were different coaches. One coach was, for black people. Another coach was for white people. And all the other people in the nation who were Britishers or who were, fair in color, they were accepting this norm. Even the black people were also now, acting as, submissive in front of the Britishers. And then, Mahatma Gandhi ji, they had, they basically, the black people, very few people were courageous enough to face the colonialists. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi ji, when he was also thrown out of the coach of the train, he said that this is unacceptable because it was a form of cultural violence. Why? Because the social norms were such in that nation, in Africa, that people had accepted the colonialism and the race-based differentiation made by or introduced by Britishers. तो लोगों ने जब एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं ना, उसको ऐसा दिखाते हैं कि तो नेचुरल है. ब्लैक लोगों को अगर डिग्निटी के अगेंस्ट उनको उनकी डिग्निटी को दबाया जा रहा है, उनको डिसरिस्पेक्ट किया जा रहा है, दैट इज नेचुरल एंड पीपल मेक इट सीम नेचुरल बिकॉज ऑफ स्टैब्लिश्ड सोशल नॉर्म्स, दैट बिकम्स कल्चरल वायलेंस. वो फिर कल्चरल वायलेंस बन जाता है. That is why Mahatma Gandhi ji said this is not acceptable. We have to stand against it. ऐसे नहीं होता है कि आप स्किन कलर के बेसिस पे डिफरेंशिएशन करोगे, बिकॉज बीनीथ द स्किन वी आर ऑल सेम, वी आर ऑल सोल्स. इस स्किन के नीचे जो है वो आत्मा है और हम सब सेम आत्मा है. वी कैन नॉट डिफरेंशिएट बाय जस्ट एक्सटीरियर you can say features or characteristics. So when people in a particular nation, there is any kind of differentiation or discrimination, and people make it a social norm, part of a social norm, and accept it without pointing at it, without standing up against it. When they make it very natural or acceptable, that becomes cultural violence. जब आप एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हो कि हाँ भैया ठीक है, अगर ये रेसिज्म हो रहा है तो ठीक है. If even in at workplace, if people accept, make it a norm that girls will be paid less and boys will be paid more, that becomes cultural violence, because now people are making it seem very natural, very acceptable, very right. Okay, so that is cultural violence. And in NCERT, they have mentioned that if we want to eradicate any kind of conflict, we cannot eradicate conflict with violence. हम violence को violence से नहीं खत्म कर सकते, because violence begets violence. जब आप violence का use करते हो तो violence बढ़ता ही है. So when we are sure, when we think or plan to establish peace in a society, we cannot do it by doing violence, by committing violence. We cannot maintain peace in a society by committing violence. ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने किसी को मार के ही पीस स्टैब्लिश करना है सोसाइटी में, उससे वायलेंस बढ़ेगा, बिकॉज दैट विल बी अ टेम्पररी सिचुएशन. नाउ देन द पीपल विल think that if we want to establish peace, we need to become violent. That is wrong. That is harmful not for the nation but also for your mental health and emotional health. So that is why it is said that a just and lasting peace can be attained only by articulating and removing the hidden. Latent means hidden. Please write it down. Latent का मतलब होता है hidden. Latent grievances and causes of conflict through dialogue, through communication. By talking, we need to work on the hidden problems, the root cause of the problem, and we need to, through dialogue, we need to remove it, and only then a permanent peace can be established in a country. एक सोसाइटी में या एक कंट्री में अगर आप शांति स्टैब्लिश करना चाहते हो तो पहले प्रॉब्लम के जड़ तक जाओ और बातचीत से, आर्बिट्रेशन से, डायलॉग से उस जड़ को खत्म करो. For example, there are different kinds of attempts to resolve the issues between India and Pakistan through dialogues, through communicative channels that is going on. Okay? And it is mentioned that the elimination of structural violence necessitates creation of a just and democratic society. Because in a democratic society, focus is on talking. Focus is on discussion. Focus is on going towards the root of the problem. Not just superficially eradicating the problem, but going deep in the root of the problem and then discussing it out and solving the matter through dialogue. Okay, point clear हो गया? And another important point is that in a democratic nation, basically the main aim or the focus in a democratic nation is on peaceful coexistence of people. Coexistence means people of different caste, creed, gender, they can peacefully coexist with each other. अलग अलग रिलीजियस बिलीफ के लोग, अलग अलग धर्म के लोग, अलग अलग जेंडर के लोग, अलग लिंग्विस्टिक कैटेगरी के लोग, सब एक साथ पीसफुली बनकर एक फैमिली की तरह रहते हैं. वही एक डेमोक्रेटिक नेशन की पहचान है. एंड दैट इज व्हाई इफ यू एस्टैब्लिश अ प्योर डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी और अ कंट्री, then you will be in a position to maintain peace in a particular country. Okay, point clear हो गया? But always remember, peace is not the end state. Peace will not remain infinitely for infinite period of time. No, peace is not an end state. It can never be achieved once and for all, because if peace is achieved right now, after few years some other community or some other people, they will start standing up for their own demands, for their own needs, and if those needs are not fulfilled or not met, then again violence will come up. But the result is, basically the conclusion is that we can eradicate violence with a process of dialogue or with a process of articulation by removing the hidden grievances and the causes of conflict. ऐसा नहीं है peace एक बार establish हो गया तो अब सालों साल वो country peaceful रहेगी. But the generation changes, the demands changes, the needs changes. आज से 50 साल पहले जो नीड्स थी लोगों की, अब वो नीड्स नहीं है. आज से 50 साल पहले वो टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट नहीं थी, आज वो टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट है. तो सोसाइटी चेंजेस ओवर द इयर्स, एंड दैट इज व्हाई द डिमांड्स चेंजेस, एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी से दैट पीस इज नॉट एन एंड स्टेट. इट कैन नॉट बी परमानेंटली एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन अ नेशन फॉर एन नंबर ऑफ इयर्स. ओके, पॉइंट क्लियर? बट पीस इज a process which involves an active pursuit of the moral and material resources needed to establish human welfare in broadest sense of term. This is the perfect definition of peace. If somebody asks you what is peace, you will explain peace is not an end state. It is a process in which people are pursuing the moral and material resources which are required for the benefit of mankind, for the benefit of humans, and also for the benefit of environment. ऐसा नहीं है कि बस हम अपने अपने बारे में सोचें. We have to look after the environment also, because if environment is not present, humans cannot survive. इंसान environment nature के बिना survive नहीं कर सकता एक भी दिन. ये point आप याद रखिएगा. तो peace मतलब सिर्फ इंसान का peace नहीं, peace means overall peace. Now there are many people who say that this violence, it erupted when there were different kinds of states which were made. When the states were divided, people's mentality started getting divided, and because of that, the violence erupted. तो कुछ लोगों का कहना है कुछ philosophers का, कि जब स्टेट्स बटने शुरू हुए, स्टेट्स डिवाइड होने शुरू हुए, तभी जाकर वायलेंस भी बनने लगा, क्योंकि हर देश के लोग का जो डिमांड है, जो नीड्स है, वो अलग होती है. And one state always wants to expand its boundaries, and in that he or she, the leader of that particular nation, he or she resorts to violence for extending its boundaries, and that is why violence erupted. So people say that division of world into separate sovereign states is an impediment to the pursuit of peace. That means if you are trying to find peace, if you are trying to establish peace, the division of world into states is a hurdle in that pursuit. अगर आप पीस को ढूंढने जा रहे हो, पीस को स्टैब्लिश करने जा रहे हो, तो पहला हर्डल आता है ये डिवीजन. Because देखो, see right now Russia and Ukraine, what are they doing? Russia is trying to win over Ukraine, and for that Russia is resorting to war. रशिया क्या चाहता है? यूक्रेन को पूरी तरीके से अपने बाउंड्री में मिलाना चाहता है. उसके लिए क्या कर रहा है? वॉर. देख सकते हो आप. My cousin lives in Ukraine, and she had to run away from Ukraine and come back to India. Her entire building was bombed. Thankfully, she just, moved out of the building 5 minutes before the, bombing. बॉम्बिंग हुई उससे 5 मिनट पहले मेरी कजन सिस्टर जो थी, वो बिल्डिंग से बाहर निकल के भागी थी. अगर वो अंदर ही होती तो वो भी चली जाती उसी बॉम्बिंग के साथ. And her money, her luggage, everything was destroyed in the bomb. उनके बच्चों के स्कूल की बुक्स, किताबें, डिग्रीज, everything, the degrees, everything was, destroyed in the bombing. And she came back to India with her family, and now she's in a very shocking and horrific state right now mentally. Okay, so why it was, it's happening because of Russia's, demand to extend its boundaries, to expand its control. So people say that because of the separation of the world into states, the division of entire world into different states, we cannot permanently establish peace, because one state will always keep on fighting to expand its boundaries. Each state sees itself as an independent and supreme entity. It tends to protect its own perceived self interest. Why I am saying perceived? Because देखो, हमें लगता है जो हमें चाहिए ना वो हमारे लिए अच्छा है. We think that what we want is good for us. For example, Russia thinks that if we want to expand our boundary, if we want to merge Ukraine in our land, what we are doing is correct, right? Putin ji is thinking that only ना. Vladimir Putin तो यही सोच रहा है ना कि भाई मैं जो कर रहा हूँ वो सही कर रहा हूँ. But that is his own perceived self-interest. That is not in the interest of you people of Ukraine, right? Ukraine के जो लोग हैं उनका तो बुरा हो ही रहा है ना. There have been so many elderly people who have been killed in the bombings. कितने elderly लोग हैं, कितने बच्चे हैं जो इस bombing में मारे गए हैं. तो प्यूतिन ये नहीं सोच रहा है, उसको अपना जो perceived self interest है वही सही लग रहा है. Okay? To pursue interest of their own citizens, the states are willing to injure others as well. Example, World War II, right? And the state tends to make distinctions between people also. People of our nation, people of other nation. For example, अब देखो जब रशिया और यूक्रेन, चलो leave aside Russia and Ukraine. Let's think about the people of the British colonialist and the African people. जो British colonialist थे वो जो slavery कर रहे थे, what they were doing slavery. They were not thinking about the people of Africa. They were not even empathetic towards those people of Africa. स्लेव बनाते वक्त उनकी तरफ थोड़ा सा भी उनके अंदर जज्बात नहीं आ रहा था, इमोशंस नहीं आ रहे थे, बिकॉज दे वर फोकस्ड ऑन देयर ओन परसीव्ड सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट. So people say, the philosophers say that this is also the reason behind violence. ये भी violence के पीछे का ही एक reason है. Now there are different approaches to the pursuit of peace. When you go after peace, when you go after establishing peace, there are three kind of approach through which you can establish peace. आप पीस को तीन अप्रोचेस से स्टैब्लिश कर सकते हो. ओके, सो फर्स्ट इज अप्रोच वन विच अकॉर्ड सेंट्रलिटी टू स्टेट्स. दैट मीन्स इफ यू गिव सेंट्रल स्टेटस टू द स्टेट्स, इफ यू रिस्पेक्ट द सोवरेनिटी ऑफ द स्टेट्स, and if you treat competition among the states as a fact of life, not a very important part of life. जब आप समझो कि states important है, yes, you are respecting the states. States are important, but not just your state or your country. Other countries are also important. Second, you respect the freedom and sovereignty of other states as well. ये नहीं कि अपने बारे में ही सोच रहे हो. You know, China is right now thinking about itself only. Russia is thinking about itself only. But you start thinking about other countries also, about the impact of war on other countries as well. If you start thinking that manner, in that manner you can establish peace. तब आप peace establish कर पाओगे जब आप सिर्फ अपने sovereignty के बारे में नहीं, दूसरे के sovereignty के बारे में भी सोचोगे. If you are free to enjoy freedom, the other nation also deserves the same. If you treat competition as just a fact of life, it's just a fact of life. You are born, you are competing, but it is not a purpose of your life. No, आपके life का purpose competition नहीं है. When the states they understand this fact that competition is just a fact of life and not our purpose, they will not resort to wars. जब अब रशिया समझ लेगा कि competition है मेरा दूसरे से चलता है, but जब चाइना समझ लेगा, when China understands that competition or competition of superiority, it is not a purpose of our existence, but only a fact of life, then that competition will become a healthy competition. Point clear हो गया? And these three things, they result into proper management of competition, and that is why balance of power established. अगर आप इस approach को लेकर चलोगे तो balance of power establish हो जाएगा. And when balance of power established, wars will come down. जब balance of power establish हो जाएगा, wars अपने आप कम हो जाएंगे. For example, in the 19th century, the European countries, what they used to do? They used to form alliances, and that is why the wars were minimized. Alliances मतलब यूरोपियन कंट्रीज आपस में मिलके दोस्ती का पैक्ट साइन कर लेती थी और ग्रुप्स बना लेती थी अपने, जिस वजह से आपस में जो युद्ध है वो उनके कम हो गए थे. Okay. Second approach, it grants deep-rooted nature of interstate rivalry because it stresses positive presence and possibilities of interdependence. That means you all are, interdependent on each other. When the countries understand that, wars will come down. If Russia understands what I am getting from Ukraine, if China understands what I am getting from India and Pakistan and Sri Lanka, it will not try to enter into major wars with those nations. Why? Because it will understand कि भाई my existence depends on their existence also. So why am I trying to finish them off? मेरा एग्जिस्टेंस तो इन्हीं के एग्जिस्टेंस पे डिपेंड करता है, तो मैं इनको क्यों खत्म करूं? इफ पाकिस्तान अंडरस्टैंड्स that bhai if I become friendly with India, we are going to, it will help us a lot in expanding our own economy. जब पाकिस्तान समझ जाएगा कि भाई इंडिया के साथ दोस्ती बना के रखेंगे because we are not different from each other. पाकिस्तान was formed out of India. Okay, तो हम तो एक ही है. Just like a soul is divided into different bodies, we are all one. If Pakistan understands the interdependence of India, that India, can purchase things from us, we can purchase things from India, and if we understand this, because of the principle of interdependence, wars will come down. Okay, पॉइंट क्लियर हो रहा है? जब हम समझ जाते हैं कि भाई इससे दोस्ती बना के रखेंगे तो हमें ये मिलेगा, तो इससे इंटरडिपेंडेंस की फीलिंग आ जाती है, जिससे हम दूसरे का हानि नहीं करते. Okay, for example, political unification, economic integration, these are the approaches through which you can establish peace. And approach number 3 क्या है? Approach number 3 is establishing state system. It's a passing phase of human history. It envisages the emergence of supranational order when you try to, spread the feeling of global community, global oneness. That is the surest guarantee of peace. Approach 3 is the surest guarantee of peace. Because now you are putting it in the minds of the people that we all are one global community. Okay, when we expand our interaction, now see, in India, in my school, few years back when I was in class 10th, okay, so that time, people from Russia, students from Russia and USA, they used to come to our school. They used to spend 7 days in India and in our classroom. They used to sit with us, right, study with us. That was a global community exchange program through which they entered our school and they studied our books. They studied with us. They learned how we are, studying in India. They learned our culture, etc. And under the same global community exchange program, we also went to their nations. We also attended their classrooms, their culture. Okay, so this, if we understand this, that we are one global community, that ends all kinds of violence. जब हम समझ जाते हैं ना कि हम एक ही कम्युनिटी के बंदे हैं, हम सब एक ही हैं, वी आर वन, तो ये तो भैया श्योरेस्ट गारंटी है पीस का. दैट इज व्हाई ग्लोबल एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम्स आर गोइंग ऑन राइट नाउ. सो इन दिस चैप्टर वी हैव अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज पीस, what are the different approaches through which you can establish peace, what are different kinds of violence, and what we can do to remove those violence. So this is your homework question. A state must protect the lives and rights of its citizens. However, at times its own actions are a source of violence against some of its citizens. This we studied in detail. Racism, okay, gender, sexism, ठीक है, फिर हमने पढ़ा casteism. तो India also has witnessed sexism and casteism and racism. So कभी कभी हमारे खुद के actions भी हमारे ही लोगों के against हमें खड़ा कर देते हैं. So you have to discuss this statement with the help of examples. Second question, what is peace? Discuss its different approaches with examples. Right now we studied different approaches of establishing peace. You can give examples and support your answer. तो ये आपके 2 questions हैं जो आपको आज practice करने हैं. I hope you understood this lecture. उम्मीद करती हूँ आपको अच्छा लगा होगा ये lecture. You understood the concept of peace and this is going to be really important in your essay paper. आपका जो essay का paper है ना and your interview, उसमें ये concept काफी important आपको काम आएगा. Even on when you become an officer, please remember this chapter. It's going to help you a lot in your actual field work also.